So, hi Sailesh, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Sailesh and I'm from the fourth year chemical engineering department of Jadavpur University. I recently got placed at Asanify and I'm at the role for the role of a software developer, full stack developer.
So, Shailesh, can you mention us about the rounds that were conducted for Asianify?
Yeah, so initially, first round was an aptitude round, which consisted of around 50 questions. We have to complete. It was a Google form. We have to complete it within 30 minutes. This was a question around 50 to 60 questions, maximum cat type questions. This was the first round. After that, this was not proctored. Then second round was a coding round, which consisted of three medium to hard level questions, which included DP and graph. Basically, DP and you can also say only you can say DP and graph. Okay, so it was also not proctored, but yeah, the challenge was you have to complete these three coding questions in half an hour. These were very well known questions. Anyone who has a previous experience of coding can easily solve these questions. Then third round was a online project round, for in which the interviewer asked me about my projects. He also asked a simple maths question and a puzzle question, simple CSE questions. In the fourth round, it was an offline round. People, they had selected around 9 students from our whole batch. So from our whole department, whole from the whole university. So there was a coding round where they asked the questions as the two coding questions were asked on graph and trees. Then after the fourth round, they selected 4 people. In the fifth round, it was a shortlisting round. Fifth round was a shortlisting round. They asked a general puzzle. It was a hard puzzle. Yeah, and after that, the 4 people. After that, from four, three people were selected for the engineering role. They were basically it was a founding engineer. They called us founding engineer, but it's a full stack developer.
Can you describe in details about the coding questions and the types of coding questions that were asked?
Okay, so in coding questions, you can say that you have to be well versed in graphs and DP. Like basically strings, graphs, DP, trees, linked list. When the company came, they already told us that they basically work around graphs and trees. So it was well thought that it was already known that the company is going to ask about graphs and trees only. So they asked us about graphs and trees, but to know up to that level of graphs and DP, we have to solve at least 150 questions. I would recommend that we have to solve at least 150 DSA questions before that in every topic, so that it would be very easy for you. It would be easy for you to answer that graph questions and uh, DP questions. In graph, basically there are BFS and DFS questions were asked. Basically, I know the question. It was around the schedule the courses. I know the question. It's in the linked list. It's in the linked list entry. It's in the lead code. So schedule the courses. There are two versions of this question. Both the questions were asked for me. Yeah, uh, and also the use of stack was also asked from me. Yeah, that's it. Basically, the questions were of medium to hard level. Basically, this was one is medium level question, and the another one is hard level question.
Yeah, so another thing that you mentioned that many interviewers were asking many puzzles. So the
Mhm.
puzzles are like I have seen the puzzles are tricky. So how can the candidates prepare for the puzzles, and do you refer to any websites for that?
Yeah. Basically, we also started preparing for the puzzles. Basically, after when the placement season started around June or July. So yeah, I basically prepared it from Geek for Geeks, and basically there are many websites which provide. Basically, I prepared from Geeks for Geeks, and all the questions. Basically, in coding company or the ones which come for developer roles, they ask from these questions only. Otherwise, there are other many websites where there are many questions. Basically, I refer to what these companies have previously asked me. I basically gone to there are websites. I can't remember exactly the name of the website, but basically I preferred from Geeks for Geeks. JFG is best. Otherwise, I saw that before this I had given the interview of Oracle. So in Oracle, they asked me a question puzzle which was from the Google. It was a Google question. I mean, Google's interviewer has asked this question, so they asked me that question. So it was a tough one. So basically, I would suggest that we had to prepare what they had previously or previous year they had asked the questions that we have to prepare. I would suggest that, and we can start preparing. I guess basically we should start practicing. Uh, we should start practicing these puzzles before 1 month before the placement. That would work.
Yeah, and the last part, the aptitude round, like how was the aptitude round, like how was the overall level of the aptitude round, and any websites that you would refer to our viewers?
Not that of any website I know of, but yeah, aptitude round was basically, you can say, 10 to 12 maths questions and basic questions like CAT level. Anyone who is preparing for CAT is very tough level. I mean, not exactly we can say that CAT, but yeah, means like CAT like aptitude questions, normal aptitude. It was not very tough, but it was only the time limit was the barrier. I guess you have to finish 50 questions in 30 minutes. I guess, yeah, 50 questions in 30 minutes and a little tough questions. General aptitude. It was not that tough. Anyone could have easily solved. The main test was the coding round. So we have to clear that coding round was the main part because they wanted to check our coding skills.
Yeah, coming on to that part, as we are studying chemical engineering and our course is vastly extensive in chemical engineering, so if a person is deciding to go for a coding company like yours, so how should he prepare themselves accordingly? What is your suggestions for them?
As from my experience, I would say that we should start preparing from the first year only. That would be very beneficial because if we have a target, to crack companies which are giving packages above, I mean top MNCs like dream packages, dream companies which are called in our college dream companies, which gives around above 20 lakhs packages, then we have to start practicing from the first year. We have to start DSA from the first year because DSA is important. And after, if we start DSA from the first year, if from the first year there are no such important subjects, so we can generally practice DSA, and during the exam times we can study the chemical engineering subject. It will not create that much problem. We have to start focusing because after second year or after third year, because in second year only companies start coming for the internship. So we can, if we are prepared with the DSA before the second year or up till second year, means at the end of the second year, we can get internships, which would be very beneficial for our career. Yeah. So I would prefer that we can start from the first year, and apart studying about the subjects in chemical engineering, yeah, basically what I used to do, I generally prepared the last month only before the exam, and I didn't care about, and because much of the time was in during the COVID, so it was not a problem for this time. But that's keeping that apart. Also, we can say that preparing for 1 month is enough for clearing the exam and scoring good CGPA. That would not create a problem if my main target is to crack a coding company.
Okay, so can you mention about your projects that you have done, like
Yeah, so basically, what I took, I myself started, my project in the last 6 months before the placement. When the placement was about to start, before 6 months, yeah, before 6 months I started. I did I made a website. I basically made a small website with like games and tic-tac-toe game and general front end project. I also did one back end project which uses API. So I basically took the Udemy course, full stack web development course. Angela, you provides this course. So I basically followed that, and that was very much okay for me because nothing that of important, because in projects what is important that you know what you are doing in project. It's not important to make such vast and big projects. It's not that required. What is required that you should know your project thoroughly, what you are doing, because the interviewer can ask anything about the project only. That they can dive deep into the project. So you should know what are the project am I doing. It's not important to do vast and large.
Okay, so thank you, Shailesh, for joining us, and very much congratulations from our side to get placed at Asianify. So, last question to you is that any tips for our upcoming juniors who will set for this company?
Any juniors, I would only suggest that we should start. What my mistake, I would not like any other student to follow my mistake. That what I did, I started very late. I started myself at the end of the second year, or maybe you can say the mid of the second year. I was not that. I mean, my friend Harshit also told me to start it earlier, but it was my fault that I didn't start it. So I would suggest that we should, if we want to really crack a coding company, then we should start a good coding company, and at the end, so that we can get internship and a good paying job. So we should start at the first year, means in the first year, and even if we are not starting in the first year, second year, at the end of the second year is the last where you can start and crack a good coding company. So I would suggest that start as soon as possible and practice as much as DSA questions as you can, and also study the CSE subjects. CSE subjects are also important when we come to coding company.